Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something that I learned this when I was in Africa last year when I went back to Ghana, and this is something that kind of made me enlightened. Like, we can blame the Europeans, and yes, they have been guilty of a lot of crimes when it comes to African Americans, but we do a lot of this shit to ourselves, and we've been doing that for more than 400 years. Do you think Europeans or people from this country went over to Ghana, to Africa, and white boys just went and grabbed them slaves? No. We captured them.
Helped them. Yeah.
We captured them.
Yeah.
We used them as prisoners, and we gave them to these white people to ship over here for sugar and other things like that. Salts, pearls, jewels. So we've been doing that to each other for years. So until we get out of that mentality,
how do we get out of that?
That's a hard mentality.
How do we get out of that mentality? Because it's not just what happened 400-500 years ago when
it's still going on. That's what I'm saying. It's still happening.
It's still going on everywhere, and it's going on in our media, and it's going on on the internet, and our schools. Yeah, I mean, if black kids gonna learn about black history, they have to learn that shit at home. They're not teaching that in any public school.
Only Martin King.
So how do we start being greater teachers?
Well, we got to wake up and just.
That's why I became. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's why
I didn't even know you. You still here?
I'm still here.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's why I became a filmmaker, a storyteller, because basically I think one of the greatest crimes in humanity has been, the constant kind of wrongful storytelling or propaganda against black people that have been perpetrated in white media. It's like when I was a kid, me and my dad, we used to watch westerns, and my dad would always say to me, "Come, Clint Eastwood is on," and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, and at a certain point, I said to him, "I don't want to watch them anymore." And he says, "Why don't you want to watch them anymore?" I said, "Because the Indians are us."
And you saw that.
Yeah, the Indians were the victims. But the way the story was turned, they were looked upon as the aggressors. And the white man was putting them down because they were being aggressive. And that's how we are looked upon. So basically, throughout, for centuries now, film has been used.
Not just film.
Yeah.
Not just film.
Yeah.
Europeans or our lighter-skinned brethren has always played that game.
Absolutely.
I mean, since the beginning of time. If you get married, everybody wearing white. If it's a funeral, everybody wearing black. If the bad guy come, he's wearing black. He's riding a black horse with black hat. The good guy's wearing white. But when they want your motherfucking money after Thanksgiving, and all of a sudden it's Black Friday. Kiss my ass. They've been doing that forever. And it's subliminal. I mean,
I they say the black cake, devil's cake.
Devil food cake is black, angel food is white. I'm trying to get the snow off my car in Indianapolis. It's freezing and the snow is there, and I got the stick and I'm chopping the ice, and the white guy walked by and said, "Oh, you can't get that ice off. That's black ice."
Black ice.
Oh, wow. Black ice. Now the snow is white. That's cool, but the icy shit you can't get off your car is black ice.
Black ice.
It's more dangerous.
And it's just woven into our conversations, and we come to accept it. And so the fear that's also included is woven in, and so we take that, and I'm telling you, I just went through a similar situation at a university this weekend in Indianapolis where there was folks who just didn't want me to succeed because I was talking to black kids about black history, and they didn't want me doing that.
But here's the thing, keep on talking, keep on educating.
I'm gonna keep on talking.
Because that's the way we overcome all the things that we've gone through in our lives.
And then they gonna blackmail you.
And you gonna be a black sheep. They're like black ball. Black ball.
But you know what, Mike? To end this, they only teach us about black history, the only ones that they accept. You know what I mean? So they don't accept them. They're not going to teach us about them.
So that's only four.
We're here in Black History Month. There's a black British actor, a good friend of mine, David Jesse. He has played the role of Bass Reeves. So there's going to be a new film about this guy called Bass Reeves, who was the first Lone Ranger.
That's who they wrote the wrong way to create it.
Off the story of Lone Ranger on this black man who was a a phenomenal ranger.
Yeah, he's a kick-ass.
Yeah, he was a kick-ass ranger.
My cousin is an artist, and he made this mural, and he had all of our heroes we grew up with: Superman, Batman, Popeye, and all. He made them all black. And I looked at it and I said, dang, if I always saw and it had Jesus on top and he was black, and everybody who we saw, growing up, they were all black. And I was like, imagine if we grew up seeing all black people saving people and getting, saving people from fires and doing all this. If we saw them look like us, like they said, God is made in your image, they go show this white man. That's how they get us.
Yeah, it's the images that they put into our heads at an early age.
I remember that doll theory where you had the two dolls?
Oh, yeah.
I did it with my daughters. They was like 3 years old. They didn't really know too much about that. They wasn't watching TV, but they picked the black doll as the bad doll, the white doll as the good doll.
Yeah, because they still subliminally heard it. They may not have been watching
Right.
TV, but they were near TV, they glanced TV.
And you ask them, what doll look like
society.
you? They point to the black doll.
Right.
We did a documentary that Bill Duke directed called Dark Girls. I encourage all of you to see Dark Girls. And that whole thing is the study of how darker skinned girls felt bad as opposed to lighter skinned girls throughout history. And then you go around the world and there's $860 billion a year spent on skin lighteners, even though you know it will cause cancer. And you found that even in Africa, lighter skinned black people would stand over darker skinned black people and feel superior. And that's because of what is inundated in our cultures and in our society, and all the media is always saying, be scared of the black man.
It's not just black people. I mean, it's like you said earlier, the Europeans have done such a great job
at training us.
Of training people around the world.
Ourselves, man.
There are Asian people around the world who are using skin lightening products.
Yeah, but what's crazy is like we're using skin lightening products, but they want to look like us.
They got the lips,
the lips,
everything.
I
tanning salons and everything.
To get what we come by naturally.
But it starts at home. So how do we change it from the beginning? When you first,
from my dialogue, from how I talk to our children,
your children, how you talk to
we
got it in the house.
Speaking of that, there was this article that was written in Mademoiselle magazine.
I didn't know you read that. Okay.
Well, I mean, I try and read everything.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You got to be
well-rounded.
It says, if you want to protect your daughters, raise better sons. Now let that sink in for a second. Basically saying, how we raise our sons, we should kind of raise them the way we choose to raise our daughters. That there's this double standard of how we raise our daughters. So you raise your sons to be tough and be macho, whatever, instead of teaching them how to be sensitive and in touch with their feelings sometimes. And the way they grow up is the way they were raised, and what they see in the household is how they're going to treat women a little bit later on. Makes a lot of sense to me.
It makes sense to me. And I just think in the black home, period, black men, young men, need to be raised a certain way with a certain amount of dignity and pride and energy and courage. When I watched the white judge, after they found this lady guilty of killing the white cop killed the brother, and she knew damn well that wasn't her place. And the brother wasn't sitting in a pitch black room in a black suit. He was sitting there watching television in his drawers, so she could see it wasn't her house. And she killed him. And that the judge would come around. I ain't never seen a judge of any color come and hug somebody after they found him. But she would come and hug the white person. And when you see that, you see that's more of the stuff we're being taught. Oh, it's okay. She made a mistake.
The bailiff.
We're very forgiving people.
Touching her hair.
Stroking her hair. But a sister do that. And then we talk about the R. Kelly situation. And I don't know whether he did what he did or not. I don't know. But I know the question I'm wondering is, where were the men in the little girls' lives? Absolutely. Where were their brothers? Where were their uncles and their daddies and their granddaddies? Because I have a 25-year-old daughter who's a singer. If I went to somebody's house, R. Kelly, and they said, wait, and they said he couldn't come out. We're not letting you out. I'm going to get my brothers and my cousins, my uncles, and 20 niggas with guns, and we killing all the motherfuckers, and we're taking the stereo equipment, and I might fuck some people. I'm just saying, I don't understand where are our men in our society, and that's about the training in the household from the beginning to be men once you start as little boys.
Yeah,
how are you raising them, and are we raising them the right way, not to be the menaces to society or whatever? And why do we try and keep our daughters away from men that are like us, instead of just doing the right thing from the beginning and teaching them what a proper man?
I don't believe we raised them to be menaces. I don't believe we raised them to be
I'm not saying that with all of them. I'm not saying that all of them.
I think the menaces are the ones who don't have the race.
But if you don't hold them accountable for certain things and say boys will be boys, you're not doing
that shit.
Well, I have two sons. I have 3 daughters.
How old are sons?
So
do you raise them any differently?
So my stepson is 28, my daughter is 28.
Okay, all right.
No, I don't raise them any differently. Yeah, I raise them to be respectful of each other, to be respectful of other people, and to be mindful that there are going to be people out there who may want to do them harm. But I really, myself and my wife, we really believe that there isn't one rule for boys and one rule for girls. That just doesn't work.
The law of decency.
You got boys and girls?
Yeah, I got boys and girls, but I want to give the women props because the women, they do a good job raising us. Like, cause my mother, she was a single parent, and she did the best she could. But at the end of the day, you still need a father in the home to help raise that boy. Because I tell my kids, I don't want them to be nothing like me. You know what I mean? Because I was a knucklehead when I was going. I want them to be 10,000 times better than me. You know what I mean? So I treat them, like I said, treat them to have respect, treat all women with respect and everything. But at the end of the day, you still need that man to help raise them, your young boys, so they can treat women like kings, like queens. Yes. That's what I think, you know? Yeah.
You got any kids?
Yeah, I got 3 girls.
3 girls.
Yeah,
okay.
so I ain't got no more hair.
Girl dad for sure. Dad. Love it.
And you know, I have 2 biological daughters, and I have a stepdaughter, but she's my baby. This is much. My other daughters, and I look at it both ways. I feel men need to raise their daughters right, and they need to raise their boys right. You know, no matter what. And I teach my daughters, just like I would teach my son, not to hit anybody. I tell my daughters, don't ever hit no man, because at the end of the day, you can't control his reaction. And see, a lot of times we just say, you know, boys don't hit, don't hit, don't hit, but we don't teach the girls. And see what happens, like, you can't control somebody's reaction. Even if it's a bad reaction, you can't control it. You know, and so I teach my daughters to be respectful to anybody and everybody.
I disagree with you with that.
Okay.
I tell my kids, don't hit no woman. You know what I mean? I don't care if she, and I done had women smack this dog shit out of me. You know what I mean? I still didn't do anything. So you got
my father was like that too.
But you have to be a man. You have to know how to control your anger. You know, because you know you don't want to be hitting no woman at the end of the day. So
absolutely.
Even though they hit you, like I don't believe in. I have
all girls, so I'm just telling them not to hit.
Right.
Because you can't control. I don't have any boys, but if I had a boy, you better get up and walk out the house.
So, yeah.
But my girls, I focus on telling them, hey, do not disrespect anybody and respect people.
Right, I understand.
Because if you don't do that, it's just like with the whole, you know, the gay, you know, and transgender. And they say, oh, well, we need to teach kids how to respect transgenders and gays. No, we need to teach kids how to respect everybody. We don't need to just section it off and teach kids at 1 year old the blue, pink, and the pink bear get together, or the blue and the blue bear get together. No. How about you just put all the bears in one bag and you love them all no matter what? And that way you don't have to break it down. You don't have to explain to your kid why the doll has a penis. Because they're putting penises on dolls that are girls now.
They have dolls with penis?
Yes. I think we're getting away from the point where Mike asked. We're getting away from the point where Mike asked.
I think my father always taught us that you don't hit a woman.
Right.
No matter what. That's one thing I learned about being a man. You never hit. Now, I choke the shit out you, but I'm just saying I wouldn't hit you. I wouldn't hit you. It's wrong. Hitting is wrong.
We here at the Mike and Donny show don't believe it. Any type of violence against women.
Exactly.
The thoughts in the comments of Michael Carter are his own.
Not me and Mike.
Y'all know I do.
We ain't
I do
touching no
comedy.
women in a bad way.
I do comedy, and my woman frightens me. So no, because I be messing with her with this chicken, and she try to argue. I do this, and we was in the car, and I was shouting. She ripped. I didn't even know Chicken's head moved. She ripped his head off and threw it in the back seat. I was so scared, just a little bit of pee came out. So no, I ain't hitting nobody.
Don't do it.
But let's get serious.